And we are live. Gentlemen, welcome back to a full house of the Mecca of Banter podcast. For the first time, I want to say in season 4, this is the first time that we've had all 6 of us on here, which if you are a fan of this podcast, which I'm sure you are if you're listening, it's a rarity these days. So I am so glad to be here with all 5 of these other gentlemen. My name's Henry Wind. I am this week's host, and boy, do we have a special episode for you today, going over the great match results that was the English Premier League this weekend. But first, as always, let's check in with the fellas. Andy Hoover, what's going on, bro?
First up, doing well. Absolutely buzzing from the performance last night. Mecca of Banter, the mob takes the Veta Men's Sunday League Championship. A hot and spicy 3-2 finish in absolute pouring rain. It was Brexit ball. It was a Sunday League classic, is what it was, gentlemen. Got to lift the trophy. That we did it on a rainy night in Fenton. We got the trophy, of which is $100 off of our next Veta session. So lifted that up high above our heads. But Spurs won, Arsenal lost. I had a pretty solid hate watch weekend. So let's do this.
Yeah, shout out to the Mecca Banter Sunday League team. I got the call up on the Sunday night and got to play my first match of the league. I think Dobe sent the meme in the group text a couple weeks back of like when you do absolutely nothing on the group project but still get an A. That was my performance for this team. So shout out, Nick Hayflinger. How we doing, bro?
You know, we're doing fantastic. Wanted to give a quick shout out to our boy Butchie Man and his high school men's Lafayette high school soccer team. They're playing the district semis this Saturday against CBC. And I thought it was fair to mention that because I also watched another high school soccer performance when Chelsea and Manchester United played. So, bunch of high school soccer all the way around. But happy to be here. You can find me on Twitter at HV4. Pumped that all the boys are here today.
I love that. Speaking of that high school soccer, Butchie Man, how you doing, bro?
Man, I'm so excited to be back with all you guys, man. I'm pumped to be here. I'm excited to talk some footy with you. Excited to chat shit, get banged, as Jamie Vardy says. It's going to be a great night. Yeah, man. Nick, thanks for the shout out, man. Boys are doing well.
Nikki, that was an incredible transition, by the way. I need to double back to that. That was excellent.
I got it.
It's like, you know, we've been doing this for a couple of years now. Sometimes the juices flow. Connor Sindobri, coming off a big night for you on the field. Baby. Man was everywhere. Heat map was incredible.
Everywhere.
All of it.
I told you I'm not a cap. The heat map was accurate. No, fellas, it's good to be back with the boys. It's been a while since we've had all 6 of us here. You guys like get the pleasure of like every day. You don't have to talk about Liverpool or hear about Liverpool, but like I'm with Butch every single day, fellas. So like. This has not been fun with them rolling top of the table. United gained a spot. We're in 13th place. So, up the table we go, baby.
How's Liverpool doing?
Tied for first place, 23 points, baby.
Buzzing.
Up to Bielefeld, as always. Lucas Winkleman, round us out. How are you doing, bro? Do we need to do like a wellness check on the household? What's the deal?
Yeah, no, been better. Been better. Our Arsenal is kind of a clusterfuck right now, both on the field and behind the scenes. So I know we'll dive
First
into
time?
that.
Been there before. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. No, hey,
Yo, bro.
I'm glad I'm not the first. It's a meme.
It's a meme.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a meme.
Put it in the archives. We should start recording what goes on before we hit record.
It's like the pre-match lobby in Call of Duty. Like you just got to record that stuff.
You know what? Maybe we shouldn't record it if that's what we're comparing it to. But no, good to see you guys. Let's just keep it going.
So excited to have everyone here. We have so much to get into. But first things first, I feel like we got to address the elephant in the room, fellas. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, November 5th, that is Election Day in the United States, which means it's a pretty controversial time, depending on where you fall on the political spectrum. And I just want to remind our listeners that regardless of what happens today, we're really all on the same team, which is the U.S. men's national team. And you know what? The U.S. men's national team has reached out to the Mecca of Banter to promote the upcoming game on November 18th at City Park, or I guess what are we calling it now? Energizer Park.
Energizer Park. I think it's still City Park for now, right? Or is that
City Park at Energizer, where the battery at Energizer Park
battery.
for St. Louis City? I don't know. Regardless, the important thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you are looking to get your hands on some tickets to the U.S. men's national team game on November 18th, you can hit the link in our bio for some discounted tickets. They're seating all around the stadium, depending on where you want to sit. The Mecca lads are looking at section 137. If you want to see a game with the Mecca, make sure to get some tickets there. And we're proud to announce on this podcast for the first time, we are going to actually raffle away some tickets that we have with the U.S. men's national team. So we're going to need you to do a couple things if you're interested in winning those tickets, which is make sure you follow the Mecca of Banter, make sure you follow U.S. Soccer, and tag 3 friends and like the post that we announced this raffle on. It'll be up tomorrow, November 5th. So make sure you do that. Tag your 3 friends, like the post, and you're entered in to win some pretty sweet tickets. So if you don't win the raffle, you can still get the discounted tickets. And fellas, we're buzzing about this. We're excited to be there.
Dude, if you're sitting in section 138 or 137, you need to be prepared for a full-blown Mecca shitstorm.
Absolutely.
You also may see some tears from Hoover.
There may be some tears. There's definitely going to be some sodas.
I'm carrying you out.
A couple.
That we may be in full force.
Yeah. No, that's great. I will say, make sure you check out that link in our bio. It's really cool. We've gotten a ton of traction. What's neat is working with U.S. Soccer. They obviously have all of the data points and they have all the things that we're able to kind of get a peek behind the curtain. And it's been really fun working with them to see kind of where these tickets are being purchased and from who and all that stuff. So I just appreciate everyone in the St. Louis community that's kind of thrown this link around. And we all have our own networks outside of our combined network that we have. And just want to give a shout out to the listeners and keep your eyes peeled for that raffle. I will say it was really funny watching this screen as soon as I started talking about the election. Yeah, all of you were like, what the fuck is he going to say? That was beautiful.
Again, you tied that. That was excellent.
Come on now. Yeah, but for real, watch the YouTube. Watch the faces melt away during that. But let's talk some Premier League. I don't know if there is any better place to start than with Arsenal Football Club at the moment. So, Lucas, you alluded to it in your little intro. There's some chaos on and off the field. But let's start off with on the field. You all drop points yet again. And I just want to repeat, you drop points yet again. Just for everyone listening, you drop points yet again. You are now outside of the top 4 for the first time in a while. So I just want to remind yourself, you drop points again. You're in 5th position after dropping points over the weekend to Newcastle United. What went so wrong for you during this game, and why can't you pull it together? Real quick, Lucas, while you're muted, I'll just let you know you drop points again. So now you're in 5th position instead of
I will say I think it's funny coming from Henry because he's in 13th.
The table's lovely back here.
From a bottom half.
Do you guys know what was released 8 months ago?
Oh my God, the Dynasty podcast?
The Mecca of Banter, the Arsenal at the beginning of a Dynasty podcast.
Question mark.
It's so
Question mark.
Drink up, Lucas, bro. It's
I am.
It's going down.
It's going down like gravel today. Yeah, that was a terrible showing. St. James, tough place to play. We say it every single week on the podcast. But just zero fucking offense despite, dominating possession like we're kind of known to do. 1 shot on target despite having a higher XG. I still think it's too early though to say that we're out of the title race. It definitely doesn't make it easier for us.
I didn't even say that.
Huh?
I didn't even say that. You said it, not me. I'm not bringing that into this.
I know, but it was going to come up at some point.
Sounds like maybe it's a soft spot that's being.
It's not, brother.
Pushed on.
No, I'm just making sure you know where my head's at before you ask me the question. I want to remind you guys we're only like
in fifth place. Yeah,
10 games into the season. Jesus Christ, 10. Okay,
Damn, bro.
got it. Thank you. We're only 10 games into the season, and I think we've all seen from our clubs how different like the fall and winter campaign can be versus the spring side. You know, we've seen City drop points without their captain like last year, the first half of the season, and saw how they came back in the second half and went on a run. So I think we talked about it last week a little bit with City kind of being older and not as strong as they were this year versus previous years. So it could very well be one of those instances that we're projected to have Odegaard back for midweek against Inter in the Champions League. So I think they're supposed to hold a practice session tomorrow that he's supposed to be at, and then that's with the intentions of him traveling to Italy for that match. So we'll see what happens there. But I think when teams have wingbacks that can play as well as Newcastle's did against our wingers, that I talked about it a lot last week. Like that's been our main form of offense so far this season. Without Odegaard, has been pushing the ball wide and attacking from the wings. And so without somebody like Martin Odegaard to help us play through the middle more, that obviously allows teams to defend us much easier than having sort of a dual threat of being able to play through the middle and wide through the wings and across the middle. So, I think Newcastle just defended that really well. We also didn't, help ourselves by not really providing any sort of offensive threat going forward in that game specifically. But I'm ready to have my captain back. Huh?
I said Kai Havertz, what a player.
Dude, what's your thoughts on Kai Havertz? So, like, it is interesting. For those of you who don't frequent Arsenal Twitter, I am one of those people. But after the result this weekend, I had to look and see what the Arsenal people were saying. There's a lot of Arteta out on Twitter, which is a fascinating world to revisit the hashtag Arteta out after a couple of years, because it was there before. It's back up again.
Dude, and it's been 3 games. It's been a loss, a draw, and a loss. Like, that's insane.
He's got to be out. But there's a lot of people saying that basically the overall thought is, when are we all just going to accept that Kai Havertz is actually a shit player? And that is like what that's what's going on in the Arsenal Twitter. So where do you stand on that, Lucas Winkle?
I still think it's one of those things, like, I don't want to say everything I just said, but he's not one of those players that, without somebody like Martin Odegaard in the middle to help take some of that pressure off of him, or provide him that sort of ball through the middle that he can hold up play and then dump it off and then make a back post run like he did a lot towards the end of last year when I was talking about how realistically, if he plays like this, we don't need a striker. But we've seen it. He's got like 4 goals and 1 assist this year, and the 4 goals he scored, a couple of them were great, but they weren't against, for the most part, top half teams. Let's see, Southampton, Leicester, Brighton, and Wolves. So one top 10 team. So I feel like he's one of those players that isn't going to create for himself. So whether that makes him, subpar or average or whatever the case is, I think there's a lot of strikers in the league who we could kind of say are similar in that way, even though they might not be the same, exact kind of player. I think a lot of these strikers can't necessarily do their job when they don't have that player beneath them that's helping them create the space or draw attention away from that, lone guy up top. So don't want to write him off yet. Again, I want to see how he performs once we have Odegaard back. And then I can probably give you a more accurate depiction of how I feel about him. But it's tough to take the first, outside of the games where he scored, taking 6 of the games this season where he hasn't scored or gotten an assist. All of them without, or the majority of them without Martin Odegaard there in the middle.
So it's safe to say your guys' team success is based off of Martin.
Not fully, because we haven't. What? Where did you get that from? No, we.
No, I was.
We yeah. No, I mean he got hurt early. He got hurt early on in the season. The last 3 games, not ideal. We've also had some other key injuries and red cards and things like that again haven't helped our case. But for Kai Havertz specifically, I think he needs a good player that's comfortable and experienced in the middle, like he is, because Trossard's fine, but that's not his position. He plays much better on that left wing, and we've seen that. So
was no banter to Arsenal.
Yeah.
It was more to how good Martin Odegaard is, because I was trying to hint at earlier in the season. I said that Martin Odegaard's more key of a player for you guys than Saka is, and I think we're kind of seeing it right now.
I've got some banter. I think Kai Havertz is the designer store Timo Werner.
I think Kai Havertz is the exact same player as Thor.
Thorson.
Thorson.
Wow.
They're the same player.
There's some similarities.
Same player.
Hey, Winks, like, do you think Arsenal's kind of in a break the bank situation to bring in a 9?
Yeah, you gotta be.
I feel like you're the guy from Sporting, Victor Gyorkis, whatever his name is.
Yeah, dude, I know.
Like, if you got him,
I wanted him so bad over the summer.
We already know where he's
Benji
ending up,
Sesko.
fellas. We already know where he's ending up.
Brother,
Everybody in the world's lubing up over that one.
Lucas, so obviously Arsenal's just not good enough at the moment, and it doesn't necessarily get easier for you. Obviously, you have the match with Inter, you have Chelsea coming up, you have Nottingham Forest, who's a wagon at the moment, and then you have Sporting going. So does what's happening off the field impact what's going to go on the field? And for the listeners that don't pay attention to what's going on day in and day out, can you share with the listeners what happened as of this morning off the field that you feel like, and whether or not you think it's going to impact the on the field performance?
Yeah, yes. So our sporting director, Edu Gaspar, resigned from his post as Arsenal sporting director this morning with plans to join Nottingham Forest and Olympiacos owner to lead their sort of like multi-club group.
Took a step up in the table.
Yeah, sure. This the offer, like there hasn't been anything concrete yet, but it's rumored that it's like a 3x increase in salary and a promotion to the title of CEO. So great for him. You know, I think most people would have done the same thing, especially with us not having, won a title and, not won something since Mikel Arteta has come to the club, specifically a Premier League or a Champions League. But I think change happens a lot in football. We see managers and other front office staff moving all the time, but my only concern with it, and I don't even know if it's fully a concern, because like we see how open to the public these sort of talks and deals are between managers and players, but with other front office staff, a lot of these deals go on sort of behind the scenes, so we don't always see like how long this talk has been going on or whether it was a super abrupt departure. I would have thought that maybe he stays through the end of the January window and just kind of does one of those things where you like leave it better than you find it, not leaving halfway through the first half of the season. Again, we don't fully know how abrupt the decision was though, because it was behind closed doors. But I think like overall, despite how we've done our last 3 games, if you look at our body of work, from table finishes, at least the last 3 seasons, I think that we're in a healthy enough spot to identify, a capable replacement ahead of the January window. But, Edu's had the backing the last couple of years from the club. We outside of Declan Rice, I still think we've spent a fair amount of money for what we've traditionally spent as a club. So I think we'll be okay in finding a good replacement. As far as who that is, I keep a lot less tabs on sporting directors specifically than I do managers. So I don't really know or haven't had time to do any research as to who we might go after. And obviously, because he resigned today, that there haven't been a ton of rumors as to who's going to replace him yet. So I guess got to be patient and see who that is. But I think we'll be okay. And I think that, any of our clubs have sort of the stature that we do outside of maybe Tottenham to bring in a good replacement.
Sporting
we'll see what
director's in jail, so
Yeah.
I really don't have room to talk here.
It's only up. It's only up from there, though.
No, it's interesting. I mean, I can't tell you how many times on this podcast over the last couple of years we've praised the Arsenal back of house unit, which is the manager, the sporting director. It's the whole work. So it'll be fascinating to see how someone new comes in and impacts that and changes that. But they'll have a job to do, and the resigning effective immediately makes a lot of sense because, you don't want to have access to what Arsenal's doing, even though like he'll know he has to sign non-competes that any player that they're actively making deals on, he can't touch when he goes to Nottingham Forest. There's a whole.
He's also going as the CEO, not the sporting director, so
sure.
he won't have the same sort of conversations that he would as if he was, going just to Nottingham specifically to be the sporting director. So
yeah.
The fact this guy's getting a raise after he just thought that Kai Havertz was going to lead a team to a league title is insane to me.
It's wild.
I mean,
that's crazy.
But yes, but I have to imagine it wasn't like he didn't want to try and get somebody else, a different 9, but he.
I mean, brother, everybody and their mother said that all you guys were missing was a 9.
Yeah, no, I get it, but
Kai Havertz.
also a lot of these guys are in their roles because they know a lot that we don't, and while we he was probably given a specific budget, and we also desperately needed a backup for Bukayo Saka. Why it was Raheem Sterling, beyond me. But
again, this guy got a raise. This guy got a raise.
Both. And a promotion.
Yeah, and a promotion.
Truth.
Wild.
I think he's good at his job despite that, and I think like Hen said,
he's good at his job despite the results that he produces in his job.
No title.
Yeah. This is like the Arsenal viewpoint on football. Like Arteta, goated manager, results don't matter. It's all vibes. It's crazy. Listen, fellas, I know that we haven't gone here over the last couple of weeks, but we're going here tonight. Hear from the man. We're going to hear from Ryan Butchart on a 2-1 victory over Brighton. An exciting game to watch. This was a great watch. If you're a fan of footy, you would have enjoyed this game. So, Ryan Butchart, what happened?
First thing I'd like to do is I'd like Mr. Dobby to say what place Liverpool's in, please.
All I'm going to respond to this is I don't even know why you can comment on this game because I know for a fact that you weren't watching this game.
Okay, well, first of all, we had a district game. Okay, so you didn't watch it either. Second of all, I need you to answer the question.
We're going to be here all night, my friend. You might as well start. United Chelsea.
No, obviously. Hey, first of all, playing Brighton 2 times in 3 days is not an easy thing to do. I don't think playing anybody 2 times in 3 days is easy to do. And Brighton,
Newcastle.
What'd you say?
Sorry, we did it with Newcastle. We keep going.
It's not fun though, bro. Nope. I'm just saying it's not fun playing the same team twice 3 days. You go back to the midweek game. We came back and won 3-2. We were at Brighton. Had to play them again on Saturday morning, and once again came back a goal down and scored 2 goals. Inside 4 or 5 minutes, 2-1 win, right? So it's a very similar scenario against a good team, well-coached team. So credit to Brighton. But Arnie's army is flying, man. I mean, Arnie's army is in full effect. We are top of the league. I don't think anybody in this podcast would have ever guessed that Liverpool would be leading 10, 11 games into the season because everybody just talked mad shit on Arnie coming in, and Arnie's done a remarkable job. And he deserves his flowers. Shorn up our defense. Is that a word?
I don't think it is.
We're going to add it in there. Shorn up our defense.
Shorn
on up.
Archives and shorn. All right.
Heard it here first.
Molder minds.
One thing that I'm super happy about is that Mo Salah just keeps producing, and he's still our guy. I think at 32, I think some people thought he was going to leave and not play a bigger role and this and that, and he's just continuing to prove people wrong. He's the guy, right? He just has so many clutch moments, clutch goals, clutch assists, doesn't matter. he's making it happen. You know, I'm just super happy with how we're playing, and our defense looks so much stronger under Arnie compared to Klopp. I think the style fits Arnie's approach is to we're going to be defensively more sound, and if we, you know, we'll get goals on the counter, we'll get goals here and there, but we've given up very few amount of goals in this league if you look at goal differential. So I'm super impressed with that he's focused on the defensive structure rather than trying to emulate Klopp exactly with what Klopp was. So he deserves a lot of flowers for that. I don't know, man. I'm top of the league. I'm great. Life's great. Life's good, as my boy Future says.
So everything you're saying, like, was Klopp the problem?
No.
It's quite literally the same squad. Playing better, you're top of the league. Was Jurgen Klopp the problem?
No, you can't say Klopp's the problem. You can't say Klopp's the problem when he was top 2 for 4 straight years against the best Premier League team to ever play.
Huh? Yeah, when you say the only thing that matters is one. Yeah, the only thing that matters is one.
Huh? No, but I'm saying we were the only team.
You can't say Arteta's the problem when he's been top 2 the last couple of years.
I mean, Arteta did it once. I'm just saying.
Ole finished second, my friend. Ole finished second.
100%.
Yeah, that's facts, though. That is facts. No, Klopp wasn't the problem. I just think the players are enjoying a different approach and philosophy than what Klopp was. Because, I mean, Klopp was there for 7 years, you know, so sometimes you get pretty comfortable at the professional level when you have a coach around for a long time. And obviously, Klopp.
That was a nice way of saying he was the problem.
Yeah, that was very diplomatic.
The problem. I'm saying the players are embracing
Arnie more.
No, bro, everybody was sad that Klopp left, but they're embracing Arnie's philosophy. Like, there is more defensive structure. Look at our goal difference. We have the least amount of goals conceded in the entire league, right? Liverpool had never been known for that. We have the best goalkeeper in the world, but we never had the best defense in the world. We never had the best defense in the league, to be fair. Man City always had a phenomenal defense. Even Arsenal the last couple of years had a phenomenal defense. So we haven't had this sort of like philosophy to our game that Arnie has brought to what we are now, right? So I'm super like impressed with that. That's my biggest thing I've been impressed with him. But yeah, man, I mean, we're buzzing here. Like, life's good.
Yeah, I mean, thrilled for you.
I'm so upset that the high school season is almost ending because I loved it way better when we did.
Not hearing about Liverpool all the time. No, it's gonna be interesting to see how you all handle the Champions League in addition to trying to make this title push. We'll get to see what Arnie's made of in both of those competitions. You know, like just like Lucas said, I guess we're offering a lot of grace when it comes to the fall season, the winter season, and the spring season when it comes to our Premier League teams. And so far, you've had a great fall season, Butch.
Hasn't had many, not many rough patches over there.
Not
many at all.
Yeah, not many indeed.
This podcast is way more fun when everyone sucks.
The game, like Mo Salah was not having a good game until that moment, and then he just bags that goal, and it's just like motherfucker.
I think that's what makes him like, dude.
I know it's impressive to not have an impact in the game and then to do it when you need to. I agree, it's very impressive.
It's what the eye test, bro. Best players in the world do.
Yeah, gag me.
He is. I'm here. I've agreed to I've accepted that part of my life. Mo Salah is one of the best.
I do want to say Salah just tied Thierry Henry for the most Premier League goals in the history of the league with 175, and he did it in 7 seasons at Liverpool. 7, quite impressive as a winger.
Do we know how many games he did in comparison to Thierry Henry?
No, most Premier League goals of all time. He's tied with Henry, 175.
Doesn't Alan Shearer have like 260?
No, he's not saying for top. He's just saying he's tied with Henry.
I'm just saying Henry.
I was like, classify
Henry as a legend. Salah's a legend.
I was on the same mindset as you, Dobes. I was like, wait.
I was like, what the fuck?
There's so many players.
I'm just making up stats out here.
I'm like, isn't Harry Kane up there too?
Salah is a certified Premier League legend at this point. His status is secure.
Didn't you just say that Salah did it as a winger? Like Thierry Henry played on the wing as well.
I know. I'm saying both of them are impressive. Salah has 175 goals as a winger. There's
It's
a lot
just
of
a simple
strikers.
comparison here, lads. It's not that serious.
Oh my God.
That guy's the guy. Both of them.
You just compared him to Terry Henry.
Yeah, no, Salah just
It's
sucks.
insane.
I mean, dude, the eye test with him is so bad. It's so bad. I'll die on that hill.
I will too, Henry.
I will absolutely die on that
Losing to
hill. It's brutal. Speaking of death, Tottenham won this weekend.
Yeah.
Sucks. They won 4-1 against Aston Villa, which is a massive result for you. Hoof. Like that is no small feat. I mean, granted, Aston Villa is still right above you in the table, but that is a huge result for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, it was the difference between 8 points behind them and 2. So actually, I don't know if that math works, but that's what something they said on the broadcast that I'm just regurgitating.
I think it is. I think that math works.
It was a 6-point swing, like because of them. Whatever, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Math's never been my strong suit. I was texting Krupp, and he was like, "Man, Spurs are flying," and I was like, yeah, but I take this fandom day by day, so I'm going to be really excited today, and I was excited on Wednesday when they beat Man City in the Cup in another rather electrifying match. But I'm going to keep coming back to the point that I continue to make. You got to win the next one, and then maybe you try and win the one after that. That would be cool. Ipswich hasn't won a game. Let's start there. Yeah, build on this maybe? I don't know. Just a personal preference. The game itself was sweet. Not for the first, half, and especially when Vicario was flopping on the sidelines as, a corner came in again for a simple Morgan Rogers tap-in. I was pretty much dead set in this game was over. We're not coming back. It's not going to happen. And then we scored 4, so that was super sweet. Sonny getting yanked in the 55th was kind of wild. He is coming back from injury. I get it. But he also was confused that he was coming off, which is not an awesome sign to see your star player be like, really? Ange made a couple of subs, and all of them were interesting. Let's go back to this here. Let's see. So it was Basuma came in the 56, Richarlison, Ben Davies 61, Archie Gray, James Madison. Richarlison had an assist. He had to go off immediately after the assist because he's pulled his hamstring, which sucks because the guy can't stay fit. But he pulled Sonny for him. Like we're really trusting the guy right now to fill that role of the creative winger that set up the first goal on a beautiful cross out of nothing. There were interesting decisions and they all were great. Basuma was great. Ben Davies came in for I think an injured Romero. Ben Davies hasn't put a foot wrong in 2 weeks. So, you take the wins when you get them. And scoring 4 goals is sick. And Matters' free kick was sick. And fuck Emi Martinez. That was awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. Solanke, 2 goals. They're going to come in bunches, I have a feeling. What did I say at the beginning of the year? That he has to have goals and assists. No, I think it was just goals. Didn't I say 15?
I think something like that. 15 or 20.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something like that. We're on track. And he's not been the focal point. That's the whole thing. Obviously he fits the Ange system really well, but we use him in hold up, but we also push past him on the wings a lot and just hope he's in the box. So he's not the Harry Kane that we've known for years and years and years, where it's the Harry Kane team and you play around him. It's just kind of a nice system to see when it works. I wish it worked all the time. It's not going to work all the time. But win or lose, it's super entertaining. So, up the table and 2 points out of 4th behind Chelsea and Arsenal. I don't know about all that. Ange's suicidal high line, giving up the same amount of goals as the world's best defense, Arsenal.
That's what we like to hear.
Have we heard that one yet, lads?
Lucas conveniently turned off his camera and walked away from the computer as you started talking because he's like, I just know that something's coming. But there's inconsistency all the time with Spurs, as you well document. But when they're on, man, it is fun to watch. What was it? A couple weeks ago, we were on here. It's like I walked away from my TV for 10 minutes, and they had scored like 3 goals, and it's just fun. And I have Dominic Solanke captaining my fantasy team, so I'll take a 2-goal performance.
Needed that one for sure. It's been tough pickings.
12th pickings. Game of the weekend. Here we go. Manchester United, Chelsea. The game that had so much potential to be so exciting, which really just felt like a bunch of high school soccer, as Nick documented in the intro. A lot of us were together for this, which was fun to watch. But Hafey, I want you to start. What was your takeaway from this game as the Chelsea fan before the United corner kicks in? What were your thoughts on the game, bro?
Absolutely. Before I talk about the game, I do want to say coming into the game, I was feeling good, but I think I told you, Henry, before, you guys sacking your manager and having kind of a new manager bounce, and your lineup before the game did not look awful. Like, when I was looking at your starting 11, I was like, wow, this looks like a starting 11 that Manchester United would put out. It didn't really seem injury-ridden when I was looking at it. So, I mean, I wasn't thrilled going into the game, but I definitely was still confident because I think some of our performances of late have been pretty good. But boy, was that a shit show. I think the amount of turnovers in that game, I would love to see a statistician see how many times they had to count all of those, because
it was bad.
Boy, was it crazy. And I think one of the highlights for Chelsea specifically was definitely Moises Caicedo, because I think he kind of thrives in that type of game where it is very like hectic and turnover-y, and he can kind of assert his physicality in the midfield. So I definitely think he played super well. I'm still iffy on him. I think I've told you guys outside of the pod and in the pod. I think he's good defensively, but I think he puts himself in situations where he has to make these hard tackles because of small mistakes he's doing. And I think once again, we saw it here, but it kind of worked for him because the entire game was like that. I thought subbing Malo Gusto was quite interesting. After reading Twitter afterwards, some of the Chelsea fans thought it was smart. I thought it was okay. I'm Reece James, obviously, with his injury, him starting at left back, I was a little iffy on, and then them pulling Gusto and putting him at right back and Kuki at left. I call him Kuki now. I don't
Kuki Dookie.
Dookie.
Yeah, shout out Russo one time.
Yeah.
Kooky.
That's where I always sent
I
him.
thought that was really interesting because I didn't think he had that bad of a half. And I also thought it was funny that Garnacho kind of followed Reece. I thought he would have stayed on the right in the second half so he could go at Cucurella, but he stayed on the left in the second half. I thought the pen is... It's a pen. I'm not going to sit here and argue that, but I also hate the fact that Højlund's going for that instead of the goal. I think he was trying to get the penalty instead of trying to go around and get a goal, which I don't like. And
you also look like a total dork when you start celebrating a pen in today's day and age when you're like screaming at the fans because you haven't even gotten to the VAR part yet, bro. Like, pump the brakes for 10 seconds on this one.
Yeah. Sanchez just went in with both paws heavy at the kid's ankle, though.
It
was bad.
Yeah, I also I was looking at FOTMob, and I love how we always use this, and yet the fucking ratings are so atrocious.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought De Ligt had a pretty good game for you guys. Like I thought he played well, and he had one of your lower scores on FOTMob. So I thought that was quite interesting, but I think he's one of your better signings this year. But yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think. I thought Medzwicki should have been subbed off. I don't think he had really any impact that we needed. He's one of those guys that's such a confidence player. He needs to get the ball early and needs to start attacking players early, or else he's kind of silent for the whole game. But when he is on, he's on, but he was not on today. And I thought De Ligt had Nico in his pocket. So that's why I was kind of praising De Ligt. But yeah, I wanted results, but 1-1 at Old Trafford. I mean, I guess I'm okay with it.
Tough place to play, you know? It's not for everyone.
Not for everybody. Not for everybody. Hey.
Hey. Dubs. And by it, not for everybody, I mean Manchester United as well. We don't win there all the time. So,
true.
Dobes, your thoughts on the game?
Honestly, it's kind of a waste of time.
Damn.
Truthfully, it was just. I said this last night to the guys I saw. It was one of those games that was missing a big moment. Like it was missing. Like both teams kind of had half chances. Nobody converted a chance. Like I think if that game goes 2-1, I think there's a world where it ends like the one did last year, where it's a 3-3-4. Like
I told
nobody just
Uber in
converted
the
their
60th
chances.
minute, if someone scores here, it's going to be the over's going to hit, is what I was telling him.
So yeah, but it's I don't know. I think from a United perspective, I got 3 positives from the game. One, Mazraoui is the signing of the summer.
Yeah.
12 million. He's unbelievable. I think he only missed 3. I had the stats up. Let's see if I can't find them real quick. But just his ability on the ball. It was 90 minutes played, 92% passing accuracy, 13 to 16 duels won, 5 for 5 successful dribbles, the most on the field, 2 clearances, 1 block, 6 interceptions, 2 tackles. And $12 million. Like he's for us not having a healthy left back. Yeah, for us not having a healthy left back, like he's been a great fill, and I truthfully think he'll thrive a little more on that right side. So he's a positive. 2 for me, and I don't think that he was perfect by any means, but Bruno Fernandes is getting going a little bit compared to the start of the season.
Yep.
He won the goal. He scored 2 midweek, got another pen, scored again today. I think he had like 1.27 XG just himself in terms of, I think he 2 big chances created. He should have scored on that volley. I would have bet my life that he would have scored that volley.
Should have taken a touch, bro.
It's positive to see him get going because when he's at his best is when United's at his best. And the third for me is just like a sentimental one, Rude, man. Like that guy just, even though he's only at United for 4 games, this is his second, he's got 2 left. Like that's the little edge that I will always say that Ten Hag missed. It's like the celebrations. It's like you can clearly tell that the guys are playing for him a little bit, the passion that he's got. And the press conferences of him being like, I'll do whatever I can. This is the only club I take an assistant role at to stay here and help him get back to the top. So really cool for him just to see him get to live out sort of that dream he's had. But, happy we didn't lose, I guess, is the positive. I do still think we left some on the table with that Bruno chance and that Rashford chance where he hit the post and Garnacho's decision-making. But, stuff to build on.
Yeah, stuff to build on for sure. Mazraoui was the player of the match for me for sure.
Dude, he was insane.
It was just a pleasure to watch, man. Like going forward and defending, he was just everywhere. He was putting in tackles. He was, it was just great to see the decision making. You touched on it quickly with Garnacho, and he's still young. He's 20 years old. He's not the finished product. I think he just needs a look in the mirror a little bit. It seems like the decision making gets worse and worse, kind of week in, week out. It feels like he's searching for a goal so badly, or to do something. Twitter does its thing all the time right after games where pictures show 1,000 words, or you see these kind of these plays where you should have passed it, or maybe you should have shot instead, whatever it is. But the decision making is real. No doubt, under the new manager, he's going to have to learn some decision making, but he's also going to have to learn some discipline if he's going to want to play in that system. So we'll see with that. And the last note, like we called it high school soccer, but it was so CONCACAF-y. The bounces, the sloppiness. Caicedo was thriving, bro. The yellow cards, some of the no calls.
Oh, sucked,
dude. It was and it was bad both ways. Like it wasn't just this this bias that they were just out to get us. I mean, he missed calls going both ways, and some things were just really weird. I mean, Rashford got a yellow for arguing with the ref because there was like a clear foul, and I think just at that point he was just sick of it, and there was just a lot going on there. So it was a funny game to watch. I'm so glad I'm not on this podcast today talking about a Chelsea win. Fuck me. But yeah, like definite points on the table.
What about
the no red? What about it?
Think?
Dude, I forgot about that. Martinez going in
like a psychopath.
I think the approach there is it's the same exact one that Bruno did that got overturned the next day. Like it's the same exact tackle where
not wrong.
His intentions going to the left and he kind of sticks his right foot up. I don't think he meant to get him in the knee. Leach is a psycho, but if we're going to talk about that, like Fofana cleared Rashford out in the box that just never got looked at either.
Yeah,
so
truth.
I think it was way more. There was way more malintent than the Bruno one you're referencing, but I don't think the comparison is that far off. Like, I think that easily could have been a red and another one that he got his suspension pulled out of from. But like, if he gets that red card, it's not getting overturned on the field. Like, it was high. His left leg was in front of him. It started to look like a little scissor action, and he swiped his knee a little bit. But definite contact. Like, I think it was reckless. I don't think anyone would have been like that, pissed off if it was a red.
It took me like 2 or 3 views to realize what I was looking at. Like, because I was so confused why like Palmer was holding his knee. Like, I didn't know what was going on.
Connection for sure.
Yeah, and then they saw like that one angle, and I was like, oh yeah, total stud on the knee there. But yeah, it's tough. I think that's a good call. Referencing Bruno's earlier in the season. So United has a good stretch in front of them. They have a couple of winnable games. So hoping that Rude's tenure can come to an end with some vibes.
Dude, I have a group chat with Hen and Dobes, and sometimes I forget that we're not all on the same team. And I sent a tweet in back to Garnacho's decision making, which has actually been a topic of this podcast for weeks now. Garnacho to Madrid really is just a matter of time. He's gonna love it at Getafe. Nobody laughed at that in that group chat. No one thought it was as funny as I did. I laughed out loud.
It hurts.
Dude, that piece should have passed it off. Who was that making that run? Was that Ahmad? That was like literally 1-on-1 and behind the line.
Yeah, and Højlund was like,
didn't send it. He just didn't make the pass.
And the thing is, like, I mean, I don't know what it's like to have that mentality. I'm not him. I'm not. Whenever I play, bro, like I need other people. Like I don't have it in my locker to like take guys on and do all of that stuff. So like I can't foresee a world where like you have that much space in front of you. It is a clear 3-on-2. You play the ball like in front of them, and you can even make an overlapping or I guess underlapping to the inside.
Hey, Garnacho, take notes from Connorson Dobry last night.
Truth, bro. Truth. Make the defender make a decision. But like, it's insane.
He and Medwicki can go to the same school for this because that guy does the same shit.
Not comparable.
I think pretty comparable.
The fact that he's 20 years old is the best part about this. Like, if he can clean up decision making, I mean, he's already got 10 goal contributions this season, and he should have 20. Mm-hmm. Like, if he can clean up his decision making, like he's on the trajectory to still be
elite,
a special player.
Fair point.
Yeah, that's very true. The last thing that I'll say about it is I feel like every single weekend that Manchester United plays is just another opportunity for a meme. And Joshua Zirkzee trying to run onto that wide open through ball and just having his like feet stuck in the mud. Does anyone follow Joshua Zirkzee on Instagram by chance?
Oh, and he posted it. Oh yeah, he posted it.
Did you see his?
I saw it.
Oh, he took it down. Literally, it was the picture of him. Like, do you know those like sports pictures where everything's blurry and you can tell that there's like motion?
It's trying to make him look fast. Yeah, where it's like blurred behind him.
That was the picture that he posted on his story today. I was like, this is incredible.
I saw someone say he runs like he's wearing flip flops.
Yeah, dude. But it's interesting. I saw Goldbridge talk about it today. Of like, before Zirkzee arrived, everyone was talking about how he's not a 9, he's not a 10, he's like this 9.5 thing. He's not this blistering thing. And then when he has the opportunity to show us that he's a 9, people are upset that he's not a 9 and have this breakaway pace. It's like, that's just not his game, So it was just funny in the moment that, of course, 2 minutes earlier, if Højlund was still in the game,
in there.
He was in, bro. But it's just sometimes how that works out. Like sometimes it's the way the cookie crumbles.
The 9.5 joke's been a good meme on Instagram too.
It's like, always good, man.
Dude, they're just like, he's like, I'm a 9.5. So I play in between the spaces, and every time they get the ball and turn to look for him in the space, he's completely behind the play or just somewhere else on the field.
but that's the thing too, bro. It's the discipline. Like I think that, Ruben Amorim, when he comes in, like he's going to implement his system and he's going to figure it the fuck out of like where these guys have to play. And you're just not going to play, I think, if you don't fit into that system. It feels I know that Dobes and I talked about this on our Mecca moments from last week, but Ineos has made it really clear that this is their guy. Like, they inherited Ten Hag, they inherited a lot of these players, and so I think that a lot of these guys in this system, they're not going to outlast the manager, is what I'm saying. So if Zirkzee can't find the discipline over the next 6 months, he's going to get shipped out in the summer. Like, maybe that is a bargaining chip that they use for Gyökeres or whatever his name is. Like, maybe they send Zirkzee their way and we get him. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see how these players react to it. And I think that there's going to be some players that thrive and there's going to be some players that struggle. And it's going to look different in 2 years than it does right now.
So Hen already wants Zirkzee out of his club? Sheesh.
I don't say that. No.
Wow.
I'm just saying he's going to have to be disciplined. Like, the thing is that, like, I like Zirkzee. I think that he's a really fascinating player. But if you look at the way that Ruben Amorim plays, which I can't imagine that you do, the system that he plays is a 3-4-3, and those wingers, I guess, in that front three, they play in behind the number 9. So they play almost like advanced 10s. Zirkzee can play in that role. But if Ruben Amorim wants, like, the 9 to be the goal poacher, the scorer, Zirkzee is not that. Like, when we got him on kind of like the pros and cons list, on the cons was his finishing. On the pros was his, like, decision making and how he distributes and facilitates plays. So I don't know. I think that we're gonna have to figure that out. And I think everyone has a fair shot, but I just think who's not going to fit is going to be really clearly identified before Christmas.
Another manager in the Premier League whose name I'm never going to remember.
Enzo
Ruben.
Maresca.
Pablo, and
Enzo Maresca.
and aneurysm, something like that. Aneurysm.
Amorim.
Pablo and whatever. I'm done with this bit.
You're like, it's over. And being done with this bit means we're done with this podcast.
Hey.
So, as we wrap up tonight, listeners, thank you for hanging in there with us. And I want to invite you once again to check out the link in our bio for some discounted U.S. men's national team tickets. And make sure you like and tag 3 friends on our post after you follow us in U.S. Soccer for your chance to win some free tickets to the November 18th game at City Park between the U.S. men's national team and Jamaica for the Nations League. Let's have fun this week. Team, we'll be right back here next week talking about the weekend before the international break, and let's get after it.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.
Cheers.